Hey everyone, Metagross Freak here with another Borderlands character build. This is for Aurelia the Baroness, a character who just came out on Tuesday, the 27th. Her action skill is Cold as Ice, which essentially lets you throw out a homing grenade of sorts that does constant cryo damage for a duration of 21 seconds, and if you activate your action skill again, it'll go to another enemy that's under your crosshairs. It has a base duration of 35 seconds, however, a base cooldown of 35 seconds. However, if there is no enemy for it to target, it'll come back to you and refund a portion of the cooldown. There are three main trees that she uses. The Huntress tree, which focuses on sniping and other various gun buffs that'll help with sniping. Contractual aristocracy, which is essentially your co-op tree that gives yourself and whoever you give your contract to major buffs. And lastly, cold money, which focuses heavily on cryo and cryo-related damage. For my build, I plan on going almost completely down cold money, with only a few points spent in the other two trees in things I think that will help buff it. Without further ado, let me begin. Her first two skills in Tier 1 are Avalanche, which gives you increased cryo damage and chance, and Bitter Riposte, which, when your shield is full, you fire off an ice dart when taking damage to your shield. I'm choosing Bitter Riposte because even though the ranking damage may not scale as well in higher difficulties, you still have the chance to freeze someone, which will let you do bonus damage, as opposed to Avalanche, which I'm thinking early game you're not going to be doing as much cold and freezing damage because all you have is ice, cold as ice. We'll still be getting Avalanche, but it'll be at a later level. On Tier 3, we have Winter's Fury, which essentially adds a knockback kind of pulse to you whenever you use Cold as Ice or switch targets. Short Summer, which gives you fun cooldown and shield recharge delay, and Frigid Touch, which gives you Cryo lifesteal. You're not going to be doing as much cryo earlier game, but the fact that you have lifesteal and that Aurelia doesn't really have much life gain at all, save for something, say for like keep your chin up, she doesn't really have much life regeneration, and so having some lifesteal will be very good, and it'll continue to get better as you get more points in the tree. Her one pointer under Tier 3 is called Fragment Rain, which essentially turns your Cold as Ice shard into a Vladoff grenade. It is spraying out shards of cryo everywhere. It's pretty cool. Tier 4, to complement it, we're going to be getting a point in Polar Vortex, which essentially turns it into a Singularity Grenade. Although the Fragment Rain and Polar Vortex, as you can see, only have a 35% chance each, if they can both activate, you'll not only have a Singularity and the spraying ability of the Fragment Rain, but because they'll all be in one area and potentially frozen, a large explosion, be it from your normal grenade or from a rocket launcher, could take out a large amount of enemies at once. To continue on Tier 4, we have Cold Advance, which increases your shard duration and increases critical hit damage, and we have Frostbite, which increases cryo damage bonus. I'm personally going to go for Cold Advance because we need the duration to make up for the fact that we don't have cooldown yet. You could alternatively go for the cooldown, though considering that the cooldown is fairly long, you may, these four points are interchangeable. If you really want, you can go down Short Summer, though I'd prefer to go down Cold Advance. Tier 5, you have Winter's Veil, which essentially turns your shield into a Cryo Nova shield, and you have Whiteout, which as long as your Cold Advance, your Cold as Ice is active, you take decreased damage. And this is the reason why I chose Cold Advance instead of Short Summer, was because the increased duration means you'll take less damage longer. Alternatively, because short summer gives you recharge delay, you may want to go with Winter's Veil. It all really depends on what you want to do. If you choose short summer, I recommend going down Winter's Veil. If you choose cold advance, I recommend whiteout. Either way, you'll end up with all four. However, just for the time being, you have those two choices to go through. Your capstone is Winter Tide, which is essentially a kill skill that, after getting a kill, gives everything cold. Everything gains an additional 25% cryo damage, which is actually really awesome, because if used in conjunction with, say, an explosive weapon, if you get a freeze, you're not only doing the bonus damage of the cryo damage on your gun, but if you freeze something, your explosive does even more damage. It's a fun combo-y ability that gets even better the more and more points you have in this tree. I'm planning on putting more points in the tree, but for the time being, I'm skipping over to the Huntress tree. In Tier 1, you have only the best, which gives you bullet speed and magazine size for snipers, and you have Markswoman, which gives you increased critical hit damage and aim speed. Since bullet speed is always great, I'm going to go with the bullet speed. I don't tend to use very many sniper rifles, however, having an additional magazine size is nice. On Tier 2, you have Long Range Killer, which deals bonus damage the farther you are from a target. Again, good with sniping. You have Warning Shot, which is a sniping ability, and Culling the Herd. I'm choosing to go down Culling the Herd as opposed to, well, you could go down Culling the Herd or for Markswoman. Essentially, Markswoman gives you a flat 30% critical hit damage. Meanwhile, Culling the Herd is if you get a critical hit, you deal increased gun damage. Since I don't do a lot of sniping and I tend to get more body shots because I have bad aim, I'm going to go with Culling the Herd. That way, if I do get the occasional critical hit, I'll be able to do even more damage. Plus, this gun damage is added on to critical hit anyway. Lastly, you could put a point. You can put a point in Silver Lining, since killing an enemy with a critical hit adds a bullet to your magazine. However, it does not work with rocket launchers, since rocket launchers cannot crit. You don't have to get Silver Lining. However, I think it's actually a really nice ability. It's not really a lot of bullet regen, but if you're able to get some really good critical hits, especially if you decide you want to do a little bit more sniping and go down this tree further, it can be a good ability. So you can put a point in Long Range Killer or Silver Lining if you choose. However, it is not required. I'm going to put 2 points in Duchess, because killing an enemy grants you a stack of Duchess up to 50, and you gain increased accuracy for each stack of Duchess. All stacks of Duchess are lost upon your death or the death of your servant. You're not using a servant because you're not going into contractual obligations, but gaining accuracy can be nice, especially if you have terrible aim like I do. And it can be especially nice if you're using Hyperion guns, because although they get more accurate later on, you instead can just gain a bunch of stacks of Duchess using more accurate weapons, and then you can just switch to your Hyperion guns, which normally have a little bit of sway, but because of the increased accuracy will have less sway. However, again, Duchess is not required per se. I'm now going to go back to the cold money tree and take points in Short Summer. You can choose to do, after you get Winter Tide, you can choose to do any of these points however you want. However, I wanted to get the other 2 trees out of the way before I came back to Cold Money. However, if you really wanted, you could choose to do Short Summer as soon as you get Winter Tide. The cooldown is really nice, and the fact that you get minus 1% recharge delay per stack at a maximum of 200 stacks is crazy. Potentially, you could reduce your shield recharge delay if you have full stacks down to only 1/3. And if you have a TDR shield, that can be ridiculously fast. It's like each one of those snaps is your recharge delay. Super duper fast. It's awesome. I'm going to put a final point in Cold Advance because we should have finished that a while ago. And now do Winter's Veil. The cold Nova isn't as important because as you go on, there's less melee and more gunners, but it is a very good skill, and having a Nova, especially if you don't have a shield that normally has a Nova, is a nice addition. I'm also putting points in Frostbite because who wouldn't want to deal more damage, more cryo damage? In fact, you might want to take you might want to put points in Frostbite before you even touch Winter's Veil. I'm putting points in Avalanche because now that we do a significant amount of cryo damage, it just gets even more powerful, and then you essentially are able to one-shot things. Oops, sorry. You have a remaining 2 available points, which you may spend however you want. I'm choosing to put the last 2 in Long Range Killer and into Silver Lining. You don't do a lot of sniping, however. If you do occasionally use however, it can be nice for shotguns too, since shotguns are amazing at getting face shots. This is the tree I'm probably going to be doing for my Baroness build. As you can see, I have almost everything in cold money. If you like the ability of Winter's Fury, you can always take you can always take one of these 1-pointers, or a point or 2 from Duchess, and move them into Winter's Fury. Though this is what I plan to do. So, once again, my recommended bullet rundown, my skill rundown is Bitter Repose, Frigid Touch, Fragment Rain, Polar Vortex, either Short Summer, then Winter's Veil, or Cold Advance and then Whiteout. You get a point in Winter Tide, and then I would recommend just going down and finishing the other option, getting Frostbite, Only the Best, Calling the Herd, Avalanche, and then to finish it off, Duchess. You can do anything, you can do these in any order you want after you get Winter Tide, though generally it's up to you. Actually, I do still have 2 extra points. Sorry, oops, forgot about that. So yeah, go in whatever order you want, though the order of going down cold money from the get-go I think is a very good strategy of preparing. Though it's my opinion, I am Metagross Freak, and I hope this build is as useful to you as it may be to me. And happy vault hunting!